Welcome back, folks. It's Wednesday, January 21st, 2026. It's also National Squirrel Appreciation Day, if you can believe that. Squirrels don't celebrate until March 2nd. That's the day after the season ends, but y'all already knew that. A thank you to Bill Thornton for holding down the fort here the past few days. However, I do need to issue a couple of corrections. First, I haven't been to Disney World in 20 years and a few months. And that was for an Associated Press Sports Editors Convention, not to stand in line and see mice. Also, this past weekend, I didn't go to the pyramids or the Eiffel Tower, but I did make it all the way to Myrtle Beach for some golf. On the way, I celebrity spotted Coach Kevin Steele and Larry the Cable Guy, so I'll put my culture up against anybody's. What a lot of news happened since last week. The national stuff has now trickled down to the state level, so we'll let you know where the presumptive GOP nominee for governor stands on Greenland. Also, last year was a record for economic development in Alabama, and a Birmingham-based company won a big civil case related to its work in Colombia. That's South America, not South Carolina, but y'all already knew that too. My name's Ike Morgan, and we're down in Alabama. President Trump's desire to acquire Denmark-controlled Greenland, so much so that he's leaving a military invasion of the U.S. ally on the table, apparently, and risking America's standing with some European allies, has rocked world politics for the past week. And some Alabama political leaders are lending their voices to the issue. U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville, the presumptive GOP nominee for governor, stayed true to his trust Trump position that he's taken on just about everything short of renaming American football. That's true. They split on that one. AL.com's John Sharp reports that Tuberville said he doesn't believe the president really wants to take Greenland by force and that he wants to work with the island nation. Regarding allies in Europe who might object, Tuberville said, quote, "It's time we played hardball on the people who lived off us, and we helped forever, and we need to help the American people," end quote. Now, even though Greenland has been friendly territory with an existing air base and a history of more U.S. military presence, Tuberville argued that the move is important for national defense and that Russia and China, quote, "are all over Greenland." Now, the senator also said that, quote, "they have all kinds of opportunities there for oil, gas, and natural minerals, and all those things that we don't have," end quote. The White House has said a takeover is imperative for fending off Russia and China. However, the president also indicated in a letter to Norway's prime minister that because he hasn't won the Nobel Peace Prize, he has evolved away from thinking purely about peace and more toward thinking America first. The Nobel is awarded out of Oslo, Norway, which is why Trump has beef with them. Now, whatever his incentives, the president is serious enough that he's threatening European countries that are opposed to a U.S. takeover of Greenland with increased trade tariffs, which brings us full circle on Tuberville's loyalty to the president. Recall that Tuberville embraced tariffs after Trump started using them as leverage in fundraising, breaking from the long-time conservative view that tariffs and other taxes on businesses are a drag on trade and ultimately pass much of the cost to consumers. Tuberville said at the time that we need to get on board with tariffs and compared traditional takes on free trade to a football team that keeps running the ball up the middle even when that's not working. Now, while Tuberville waved off the possibility of a military move on Greenland, Alabama Junior Senator Katie Britt was more direct. Quote, "Denmark is an important NATO ally, and I do not think an invasion of Greenland or troops on the ground is in the best interest of the United States or our alliances." Now, she wrote that in an email while also acknowledging Greenland's strategic location relative to America's rivals. Governor Kay Ivey and the Alabama Department of Commerce are touting a 2025 that welcomed billions of dollars in economic development, reports AL.com's William Thornton. According to the department, it all added up to a record $14.6 billion. That's twice 2024's number. The projects also combined to promise 9,388 jobs in sectors such as biosciences, technology, metals, automotive, and aerospace. Now, the big project starts involve companies such as pharmaceutical giant Eli Lilly in Huntsville, steelmaker ArcelorMittal in Mobile County, pulpwood and paper miller Georgia Pacific in Purdue Hill, and shingle maker Owens Corning in Prattville. And Birmingham-based Drummond Company has won a massive lawsuit over a law firm's human rights accusations, reports AL.com's William Thornton. After years of litigation, a federal jury in Alabama issued a $256 million verdict against human rights attorney Terrence P. Collingsworth and international rights advocates. That is a chunk of coal. Now, the lawsuit alleged that the defendants used false information to accuse Drummond of human rights violations at its coal operations in Colombia, South America. Drummond had argued that the defendants paid witnesses around $400,000 for testifying, while the defendants claimed those payments were made for security for the families of the witnesses. The accusations leveled at Drummond include collaboration with a paramilitary group to eliminate suspected guerrilla groups around Drummond's operations down there. Thank y'all so much for listening to us. Keep an eye on the weather forecast. It could get bone-chilling and ugly this weekend. We'll have more on that tomorrow. Until then, y'all come by and see what we're doing anytime you can on the internet at al.com.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Tap the banner to learn more and get a quote at USAA.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.